So co-creator Bill Finger was deciding between the names of the city and Batman, and he was like, should it be Civic City or Capital City? He really hated all of them, and he's like, this sucks. We have to release this next issue, and we don't have a name for this city.
Capital City. Can you imagine?
City.
Batman would have been so different. Like, I'm Batman. I protect Capital City.
Capital City.
I mean, he does protect Capital. Hi, everybody, and welcome to 500 Open Tabs. I'm your host, Kaveh Taherian.
Hillam.
I'm faster than you. I think that there's a little bit of a lag, too.
Yeah, because that was a stupid idea.
It was. Hey, guess what else is a stupid idea? People continuing to listen to this podcast.
Go outside, guys. Bring us with you.
Bring us with you, yeah. Put on headphones as you go outside. Yeah. But yeah, welcome back to the show. I can't believe we're really doing that. That's going to be your intro. I guess we're committing to it.
Yeah. If you're back away, you're a coward.
Excellent. Coming to you this week from sunny, potentially New York. At the time of this recording, we are in New York for New York Comic-Con. We've got a few fun things planned. We'll have a live stream. We have a thing that we're going to go do that we're going to talk about later on the podcast, which is very exciting, but we won't mention what it is. But we're very excited to reveal it eventually. Anyway, also at this moment in time, we're sweating away in the Javits Center, watching cows kiss other lizard people from underground.
Dude, that was an iconic episode. We talk about it all the time, but it spawned about 50 inside jokes. But yeah, we're at the Javits Center on top of, aka the mass grave of cows from the 1860s. And we're setting up our booth and we're talking to people and we're saying hi to people.
What are we at? We're at table D33, I believe is the table.
D33. Yeah.
In Artist Alley downstairs. If you're in New York, if you're going to be going to New York Comic-Con, please make sure to come see us and say hello. I see here in the show notes you mentioned something about a book.
Yeah, I was going to say I will have my book this time.
Oh, so you actually are going to have it. That's exciting.
Yeah, so I'll have copies of Cat People and I'll be signing them on request or whatever. So
how many copies are you going to bring?
A
bunch? Are you going to have like a box of books?
So they're going to be upstairs. My publisher's upstairs. And so I haven't had
okay. You just go up there and grab them. Sweet.
Yeah. So I'm going to go buy like a stack and just see where it goes. But yeah, come. You have a bunch of new stuff. I have
a bunch of new stuff that maybe we'll go over at the end of the episode, but I have new prints, I have new pins, I have new mugs, I have new stickers. I've kind of been going a little bit crazy making sure I get prepped because this is a big con and I want to make sure that I come out swinging for the fine folks in New York and make sure I bring them everything I got because they're so good to us every time we come.
Yes. Seriously, you guys, New York's the best. They're so great.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And hopefully this week, I don't know, we texted about this. Obviously, I don't know where your tab is. But unfortunately, the last time when we went to Portland, I forgot to bring a Portland tab, but you brought one. So I was like, let's not do that again. Let's make sure. So I have a New York tab this week. Do you also have a New York tab?
I do.
You do? Excellent. Okay, I think that's all the announcements. Do we have anything else that we need to talk about, or should we just go into it?
Let's do it. I go first.
Okay, you're first this week. Yeah, go ahead.
I pulled this one up from last year because it was my runner-up. And I figured what better, if this podcast is still running in a year, I'll do it then. And it
Joke's
is.
on you. It's barely running.
Ooh, we're just
I wouldn't say it's
along.
Running exactly. Yeah, we continue to release episodes somehow, but
which is insane. By the way, this is episode 90. Did you
90?
know that?
This is crazy. Yeah.
That's I went back and listened to an episode the other day, like in the 20s, and we were like, "Isn't it crazy that we've done this?" And I'm like, "You have no idea."
For 20 episodes.
Whips. Okay, so this tab is from an article called "Why is New York City Called Gotham?" By Noah Scheidlower for untappedcities.com. So I don't know how much of a common knowledge it is that New York's nickname is Gotham City, even before Batman. Did you know this already?
That it was, yes, I knew that Gotham City was the stand-in for New York in the Batman comics. But I'd actually never wondered where the name came from. So this is very interesting.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like, it's perfect because this is like a comic book thing. We're at Comic-Con and I'm in New York. I'm in Batman and pretty much
And we're
Gotham.
recording with Batman. He's our special guest
He's
today,
here.
Bruce Wayne. Yeah.
We're going to ask him to...
Hey, invest in BlackRock. I'm a rich man. Protect the stock market.
Look, there's both sides to everything. Maybe the other side could have some good points.
Yeah.
That's what
AI is revolutionary and could really help businesses expand. I'm investing in it. Thanks, Ellison family.
Oh, yeah, you sound just like him. Kaveh's Batman. So
shareholder value.
I don't care about anybody. It's all about me. It's all just, stroking his own ego. It's fine. We can discuss Batman at length and his issues later. So it's not about Batman. So I say it's pretty common knowledge at this point that Batman's Gotham City is at least partly modeled after New York. Yeah. The other one being Chicago and London.
Of course, I was going to say,
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know London was part of it too.
Yeah, in later years when they started adding like more of the waterways and rivers and stuff and mapping it out, a lot of it kind of looks like the River Thames a little bit. There's that vibe to it. And like the airships, some of them have airships in them, and that's very like Victorian
English?
or not.
Victorian, right? Is that the Tim Burton influence essentially coming in?
It might be.
That sounds like what it is.
There's a lot of Tim Burton Batman stuff that we just accept as like this is it now, which is fine.
Yeah, I love those Tim Burton Batman movies.
Me too.
Batman Returns is amazing. It's such a movie's so absurd when you look at the plot. I love it. They would never make a movie like that now. It's so good. No. The Penguin just running for all of it. I love all of it. I love all of Oswald Cobblepot running for mayor. It's the greatest thing ever in comic films. I love it.
It's so funny. And
it's Danny DeVito, which makes it even better.
It's Danny DeVito. Yeah. I remember one of my viral tweets when I was pregnant was me putting that and saying, "Look, I'm glowing," and it was a picture of Cobblepot. Anyway, because that's what I felt like. So, so Batman writer Dennis O'Neil summed it up like this. Gotham is Manhattan below 14th Street at 11 past midnight on the coldest night of November.
Okay.
That is the vibe of Gotham, which I think is, that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah.
But lesser known is that Gotham has been the longtime nickname for New York City for 200 years. And to figure out where that nickname came from, we have to go back in time almost 500 years.
Whoa.
Yeah. So originally, co-creator Bill Finger, and that's his name. I did not know that.
Bill Finger, Bob Kane.
Yep. Kane and Finger.
Finger cane. Finger cane is just you walking like this and then just using your finger as like a support system as you walk across. Or you've got like a really long, like a thing longer from Futurama that like the professor has.
Would it? No, before you even finish that, I pictured my finger just being extremely long and arching over like a cane. I don't remember that.
That's the thing longer. You don't remember the thing longer? This is very important. Hold on. This is, I'm sorry, listener, but
send it.
We're going to have to show you the thing longer because otherwise if you don't see this, I can't continue this episode because this is going to keep coming back.
Thing longer.
Thing longer, which was also like my handle for like AIM at one point.
Are you serious?
A million years
great
ago.
Handle. Oh.
Yeah. So it's like one of these Farnsworth things where he's like, he's come up with all these different inventions and he's like, yes, I also came up with the thing longer. And they're like, what's this other thing you got? And he's like, I don't know. It's just not very long. It's not very interesting. It's not as interesting as this long finger. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
From now on, we're just going to picture Bill Finger having one of those.
Bill Finger having a really long thing longer. Yeah, gotcha.
Like writing Batman with just long finger.
The typewriter is like there's one key that's like 10 miles away that he has to tap with the long finger, and then the rest of them are short. It's going to
be like the J key, and it's all the way over there. And it's like, oh wow, good for him. Our very first long-fingered author in America, making history. So co-creator Bill Finger was deciding between the names of the city and Batman, and he was like, should it be Civic City or Capital City or Coast
City?
He was like, these are all lame and exactly. He really hated all of them, and he's like, this sucks. We have to release this next issue, and we don't have a name for this city.
Capital City. Can you imagine? City. Batman would have been so different. Like, I'm Batman. I protect Capital City.
Capital City.
I mean, he does protect capital.
Yeah, just a different kind of capital. So, or Coast City.
Coastal elite.
He wanted it to feel like it could apply to anybody's large city. So you wanted something that was universal-ish. So he was like, fine, I may as well just flip through the phone book and see what I can see. And he comes across the Gotham section, which is a bunch of different shops named Gotham, fill in the blank. So one of them was Gotham Jewelers. And he was like, that sounds awesome. I think that's the name of the city, Gotham City. And he had no idea what he had just named it after. But he liked the sound of it. And it is a very medieval Gothic vibe. Batman.
It's goth.
It's just, it is. It's
to use the parlance of the internet, I just picture, what do they always say? Big titty goth girls. Like a city filled with them.
Yeah, Poison Ivy, Catwoman. literally, every woman in Batman. Anyway, I have a story I could tell, but I'm not going to because this is a podcast for people who want to hear things that aren't this story. So it's and trust me, okay? I'll tell you later.
I thought you were referring to the tab. You're like, this is a podcast for people who don't want to hear about the actual tab. They just want to know about the tangents.
It's both. This is for John's wife. I'm just going to dedicate every tangent to John's wife.
Yeah, John's wife. I do think about that all the time now. Yeah.
What's her name? Sandra? I don't know.
John's wife? I don't know.
Gotham? Batman? All right. Are you ready?
I'm John, and this is my wife, Batman.
Hi, I'm John, and this is my lovely wife, Batman. I have to keep going. So he sees Gotham Jewelers, and he's like, we got the name. So
yeah.
To figure out why there was a bunch of places named Gotham in New York City in the 1930s, I was like, where does the name come from? It's got to be from somewhere. And so for this, we have to go back to the 1800s. Okay, we're just slowly moving back in time. So
okay, multiple steps. Step one, we're in a time machine going back to 1800s. Yep. What year are we going into?
It is rickety, and I built it bad because I didn't follow the IKEA instruction for the time machine. And we end up in 1807, and we get out. Okay. Everyone's dying of cholera and all that stuff. Just streets are
out of my way,
brown with cholera.
Yeah.
And 1807, and we come out of the time machine, and New York is much smaller, and a lot of people. It was kind of like a huge hub for like the burgeoning literary scene, and not even just like just coming out of this. We're now in a new country, so there was like a lot of artists and authors and poets and stuff like that, just all over New York, similar to how it's always been.
Yeah.
One of these is Washington Irving and his brother William Irving, who also was a writer, I think.
Billy Irving.
Billy Bob Irving.
Billy Bob. He's Billy Bob Irving. He was an author as well.
Dude,
he's the lesser known.
The brother of Washington Irving.
Washington Irving, yeah.
Well,
there was Washington, there was William, and then there was Billy Bob. He was like, you don't even get your own first name. Yeah.
Who can't even write or read.
Go be a cheesemonger. We don't have time for this shit.
And he's like, I'll show you.
Yeah.
I'll make cheese better than all of you people. So the two Irving brothers and their friend, James Paulding.
Great name.
Liked hanging out with a bunch of other like literary people and writers and poets, and they have this little group of guys, and the three of them were like, we're going to make a satirical literary periodical, which at the time, again, you could kind of print whatever you wanted at any time.
It was like a zine that they're going to make, kind of but like a collab zine.
I saw it compared to like Mad Magazine a little bit.
Oh, even better.
Yeah. So this was called the Salmagundi, and it was I went down a rabbit hole on figuring out what that word meant. And
salmonella?
I was like, that's what I thought for sure it was salmonella or salmon or something. I thought it was like, or salamander. Are we getting into salamanders? And so then I had to close the tab because I was like, I can't do this right now. So
let us know in the comments what you think salmagundi means.
I do know that it is the name of an English salad.
Ew, that already sounds disgusting.
Never associated the English with salads. So... But their salad
it's probably like, actually, it's pig's hooves. It's not even any greens in it. That's how the English roll. Yeah.
Yeah. They just pour like stomach bile.
Oh, it's just grass. Yeah, exactly. With like intestines in it.
And like,
it's what we eat at the pub.
Like a chunk of thatch roof. They just put it all in there.
Ew.
Rocks.
Rocks.
Look at it. They love rocks. They put those stones all over the place, make little circles.
Rock salad, incredible English classic food.
It's my cultural heritage is
cultural
eating
heritage.
Rock salad.
Yeah.
In a land with way better food. All right. I'm going to sit down to a nice breakfast. A full English breakfast is actually just one huge rock.
Yeah. Okay. Salmagundi magazine.
Salmagundi. So it's some English salad. And I think they named it that because they're satirizing New York being this salad of just people of all sorts of cultures and
Got
things.
it. Yeah.
And even then in 1800, New York was already just absolutely bonkers, like just insane, like Gangs of New York style. Because with all these immigrants, you get beef with each other. Like these are just like, well, we're all here. Okay, now what? We have to learn to live on this tiny little island together. And it's by corrupt politicians running it and you know, all that stuff. So you get the Irish and the Italian, they all hate each other. It's all just really chaotic. And so above all of that was this literary upper class, this kind of upper crust, waspy, wealthier people who Irving and his friends were like, we're going to make fun of these people. Because they were like adjacent to it. But so they knew all the ins and outs and they could actually satirize it because they knew it. So they published the Salmagundi and I think it had like 9 printings of different editions.
Like 9 issues?
Sorry, 9 issues, not editions. Okay. So it was like a little Mad magazine.
That sounds awesome. I would love to read an 1800s Mad magazine. That sounds incredible.
I have it. It's not as fun as you'd think. I tried.
But I kind of like that it exists. I love, you know me, I live in satire. So it's like to see something like that from that era would be amazing, even if I don't get half of it. But it's cool to see like the roots of where these things start, especially in America.
It's because we've just always been this way. Like there's always been this. Satire is such a huge part of, I don't know, American culture and British culture, honestly. They're really good at it. Sorry. Say it.
Yeah, they're good at satirizing salads by eating rocks instead of actual leaves.
So they had these 3 characters they would write as. All right. Yeah. So Washington Irving would write as somebody named Lancelot Longstaff. And he's a pompous, like, smarty pants who talks all proper and is, you know, upper crust editor. Yeah. And so all of his stuff would be like these like very well written, like long-winded critiques, overly proper critiques of things. William Irving, his brother, would write as Anthony Evergreen, a romantic who wrote the Society and Fashion Commentary. So just coming in with like society gossip and stuff. Hot
takes. Yeah.
And then James Paulding would write as the foreign correspondent.
Great.
Mustafa Khan. A Persian traveler.
Oh, love it.
Right. I'm leaving out the rest of the name that's a little bit like...
muddled. I want to hear what it is.
No, it's me. It's Mustafa Rub-a-Dub Khan.
Rub-a-dub?
Like rub-a-dub-dub?
Yeah. I was like when you're in the bath, rub-a-dub-dub?
Yes. I think just like they thought it sounded weird. Persian? I don't know. But you know how they would just... I don't know.
Listen, I appreciate the specificity.
Me too.
That it's a Persian.
You a Persian person.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what this tells me.
He could have said Turkish. He could have said Indian. He could have said these other ones Greek. But he said
he was
Persian.
Like, I'm going to write as a Persian traveler.
Yeah.
And
also, that means
letters.
he considers Persians as part of the upper crust. Exactly. That he's satirizing as well. So, you know, this is how desperate we are as Persians. Right. We're like, they mentioned us. Great.
We heard the word Persian in not the context of what's happening now.
He didn't call us a terrorist. I'll take us as like a traveler. Sure.
We're the upper crust of New York.
Whoa. I'll take a different kind of stereotype. That's a new one. Thanks.
Rub-a-dub-dub.
Rub-a-dub. Call me Kaveh Rub-a-dub Taherian.
You're the travel correspondent of this show. Kaveh Rub-a-dub.
Rub-a-dub.
Okay, so Mustafa Rub-a-dub Khan was his little guy he was being, and he was a Persian traveler who would write back home and like observe American life from a foreign lens. So I can't tell. I don't know. I didn't read this part of it but it could also be very offensive.
You know what he is? He's literally the boss boy, the train boy Shaw. That's what he's doing.
Wait, do you think that's where he...
No, because that book I think came out was like 1850s, is 1860s. It was like about 50, 60 years later from when it came out. But it is kind of a precursor to that, which is interesting. By the way, episode number, I don't remember, but it was the Shah of Iran. His Majesty the Shah of Iran wrote the book about the train ride when it goes through Europe. So go back a few episodes. I did tab on it.
That was a good one. And he's
so
become
funny.
One of our darlings.
Yeah.
Up there with Nixon and
soldiery, because we just love saying hot, sexy soldiery every time you're on a train.
He just talks about men the whole time. He's like, this place is cool. Vienna's beautiful, but look at those dudes.
Hot soldiers.
They are soldiers. Oh, so they write of these people. I just thought it was so funny. I'm like, of course, why is it just? Of course, it's just so specifically a Persian person. You know what I mean? Where it's like, what are the chances? You guys just pop up. Constantly.
Is this how white people feel every time they watch anything ever that's in the entire history? They're like, what are the chances that it's a white person in this story? That's so crazy.
Whoa, my name's John, and so is that person.
What? Oh my God, it's another white character. That's so interesting. That's so different.
White lady. I feel seen. a brunette white lady who struggles with like a queer identity and depression. I feel seen. Love it. Love cats. Okay, so I was gonna say then they would satirize these people as these characters, and it was pretty popular. People really liked it. And in one of their publications, they referred to New York as, quote, thrice renowned and delectable city of Gotham. And
that's awesome. I love anytime they say thrice. A, because I love the band Thrice, and B, because it just reminds me of Mr. Burns being like, I'll tap my hat, not once, not twice, but thrice. Because he's like basically talks like he's from the 1800s, which was always funny
and
about that
his social security number is 9.
Yeah, not 9. Damn Roosevelt.
So in one of these publications, they specifically started referring to New York as Gotham.
Okay.
And how New York is just like the city, the wise men of the city of Gotham, which was a different story. So we have to go back another
in the time machine.
So get back in it. Hurry, go. Don't get cholera. Don't get whatever it is. Don't die. Okay, we're here. We're in the year 1540. And there's these stories, popular stories about the town of Gotham, Nottinghamshire. So the original Gotham is in England, and it's a folktale called, can you believe they mentioned England?
Wait, are there white people in this story too? That's so crazy.
It's insane. The chances of this are insane. I got chills just now thinking about a white person being mentioned. My ancestors, I feel seen by them.
Yeah, representation matters, guys.
Representation matters, okay? So I know despite everything I do, I'm like, I'm back in England. I didn't mean to. So The Wise Men of Gotham was a tale about the city of Gotham, which was a real city. And the name means goat town, which I think is funny.
Love it.
Gotham became the butt of a medieval joke in that everyone there was stupid.
Okay. I understand this.
Yeah. So, which is also a common thing among like European folklore, is to have this thing called blasphème populaire, which is like the popular idiot, like the imbecile.
Yeah.
That you can just shit all over. Like
Iran has something similar where it's like people from certain towns.
Yeah,
or like certain cities are known for, these people are really dumb.
Being this.
Like rash. Or they're like, there's a town.
Tell me.
There's a city. There's a city called Ghazvin in Iran, which the punchline to every single joke is they have anal sex. It's like,
wait, you told me
I told you about this.
Yeah, everybody there just has anal sex. Yeah.
The really like specific ones are all about them somehow being gay, but usually it's more broadly accepted. It's like everyone does anal no matter what. So it's like straight or gay, doesn't matter. They only put it in the ass. Like that's specifically what it is.
For that
so
one
that's what
city.
Ghazvin is. Yeah, that one city. So I fully understand this. They're like, oh, everybody in the goat town's an idiot. See, I feel like the city specific within the town that like the idea of a city in Iran, like making fun, because you know what it comes down to is also like sports teams now or something similar where you'd be like, everybody that's like a Raiders fan is like a degenerate piece of shit, even though they're not in Oakland anymore. R.I.P. They moved to Vegas and they stole from us. But like that's still the same kind of concept, which I think weirdly is more fun because even especially in Oakland, people are like, oh, yeah, we do. Like we'll murder you. Like eat shit. Like we're Raiders fans.
Raiders is for a reason. Yeah.
It's more fun that way, but
it is.
Like,
and it's just
the straight up racist part is like it's not as fun, but like town based ones always crack me up more. I feel like they're more cheeky.
What happened way back when that everyone's like, those people stupid, all of them, every single person for generations, dumb. And it's like, so the wise men of Gotham. Okay, so here's the story. And it's like a big collection of stories. There's a bunch of them. Kind of like a joke book of how dumb these people are.
Okay, I get it. Yeah. I'm following.
Yeah. And so so it's an entire series and a bunch about Gotham being imbeciles. So in one of these tales, a man is fishing and he sees that the fish are getting eaten by this eel. And the eel is just getting bigger and bigger. And he's like so mad at the eel that he like takes it out of the water and then he throws it back into the water and waits for it to drown.
Okay. No. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And then another one, the villagers are trying to like contain a bird, like capture a bird and keep it in the area. And so they just keep building the walls higher. but then the bird flies away, and they're like, we should have just built them higher.
Gotta be higher.
We're idiots. What, instead of, just getting a cage.
That eel one's really funny, actually.
I know.
Throw it back in the water to drown it.
It's like, get back in there and die. Like, so, like, you're so dumb.
I'm going to use that. I love it.
You're so dumb you could drown an eel.
Yeah, love it.
You want to drown an eel or
something. That's a good one.
In another one, a man is taking his cheese to the market to sell, and he gets tired, and he's like, I don't want to carry this stupid cheese anymore. I know what I'll do. I'll take a shortcut and just roll all the cheese down the hill to the market, and I'll meet the cheese there. And so he gets to the market, and he's like, where's my cheese? And everyone's like, don't you have your cheese? He's like, no, I told it to meet me here. It knows the way. Just stuff like that. That's just like nonsense.
Can I tell you one Persian joke of I don't remember what specifically. This apologies, this might have some racist origin, but the joke itself, the structure is funny because it doesn't really matter who it's from, like what it's about, but it's like the actual structure of the joke. But it's like this guy. You could replace
it with anything.
You could replace it with anything. Be like the dumb guy. Let's just call him the guy from Gotham. So it's like he's standing trial for having run over 14 people with a car, and the judge is like, what the hell happened? He's like, Your Honor, it's not my fault. He said, I was driving and I was going down this hill, and all of a sudden my brakes went out, and he was like, and I couldn't stop. And he's like, and I looked to the left and there was 2 people, and I looked to the right and there was 12 people. And he says, and I was trying to figure out, like, if I have to run into somebody to stop the car, it's better that I hit 2 people instead of these 12. And he's like, so what happened? He's like, nothing. I went to the left to hit the 2 people, but they ran across the street and I ended up running into all 14 of them.
That's perfect. That's exactly.
It's those kinds of like old timey. My mom used to know every single one of those. Actually, she knew all the old school jokes.
Like weirdly specific in a way that can only be passed down orally.
Yeah,
in the same way that like we all collectively as children believe that Marilyn Manson had a rib to suck his own dick,
which he did. That's science.
It's science. Look, I don't care what you say. I'll go to my death.
Never change my mind.
That.
Yeah, me too.
And like I remember, I was like 8 when I heard that, and I was like, whoa. For years, I thought that was true. Anyway, there's so many of these stories. So these were still popular in 1807 because everyone was pretty much first generation British anyway. Like, when the trio of the boys, the
Salamander
boys, the
Salad,
lads,
whatever it was called,
Salamander Salad magazine.
Yeah,
Sal magazine started satirizing New York City.
Yeah,
they went to this popular rhyme, it being the city of idiots. It's a little more complex than just being a city full of idiots, because he never meant it to be like that about New York. There was more to it. So if you go back to the other story back in the 1500s, there was another version. And another part of this story is that the city, all the people in the city were pretending to be insane, so people would just leave them alone. And that they were in on it the whole time. And that they were
Speaking of Oakland.
City of fools. Yeah. It's like, don't come here. I got shot yesterday.
This is what when I lived in Oakland, that was the general consensus, is everybody was like, yeah, no, don't come here. It's really bad and dangerous. So then people wouldn't come. And you'd be like, no, it's fine. We have really nice restaurants here.
And people are really nice to each other.
People in San Francisco, like, you should leave. Like, we don't want you here in the East Bay.
Sad. It ended up being that. So there was another part of the story about how the story goes. One of these old stories goes that the city of Gotham heard that King John, the one from Robin Hood, the lion, was traveling through the country, stopping by cities. And any road that the king travels has to be taxed. That was one of the things that made him universally
super popular. Yeah. Loved.
They got to pay for all the crusades. Come on.
Yeah.
They got to pay for the Crusades, which is just going to go leading into being the foundation of the alt-right today. What would we do without this?
Where were those hero billionaires there, stopping them from getting taxed? That's probably what they really. Those guys do think that they're like Robin Hood. They're just like, ugh.
They think that, and they also think that they're like crusaders, and it's gross.
Yeah. Thanks, Peter Thiel. You should go on an island, and hopefully that island will get swallowed by the ocean with all your other billionaire friends.
Just go.
Amazing. Yeah. Can we build them like a fake island that they can like play pretend and just be like, it's like their little fort that they get to play with like fake wooden, like cardboard swords to like stand in as their dicks, and then just they can go around hitting it, and then the rest of us can continue living our lives and have public transit that works.
I could get anywhere I wanted on a train. We all have universal health care. It's fine. Just go to the island. Yeah. Go to your little room on the island where we can watch you. And it could be a reality show. Be like Truman, the Truman Show.
Send them to Mars. Let them go live on Mars and ruin that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Anyway,
taxed. Everywhere that the king goes, King John, he's taxing.
Everywhere the king goes, the roads are taxed. And the people of Gotham heard about this, and they're like, no way are we
shit.
paying taxes?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So they decided, like, oh, I have a good idea. Let's just all be insane. We're all going to be crazy and do the dumbest things, and then no one will want to come here because they're going to think
Gotham
we're
is
insane.
awesome. Yeah, that sounds great.
This is the multi-layeredness of it. So let's act insane, and so we don't have to pay taxes to King John.
This sounds cool. Yeah, I was like, oh, I love it. It's actually very witty. It's actually very funny.
Yeah. There's like multiple. That's why you have to go
There's
all the
good
way
layers
back,
on it.
like,
Yeah. I like it.
And the joke ends up being that they're wise fools.
Right.
So
which is America, especially at that time. It makes perfect sense. Yeah, that's great.
Which is New York. So the story goes that King John caught wind of the idiot town, and he's like, no, I don't have time for this. I need to go alienate everybody around me, the entirety of Europe, so I can spend more time losing wars and taxing my whole country, and everyone hates me. I go down as the most hated British king in history. I don't have time for this. I need to go die of dysentery after trying to dig through a muddy puddle to find my crown that fell off my head while I was on my horse. And that's a true story. He died from, I mean, how beautiful is that? Anyway, I lost my spot again. I'm all over the place. But I would never pass up a chance to roast John. He's the worst, despite signing the Magna Carta. So this was interesting to Irving because not only did he see all these upper class society people as like idiots, he also saw that underneath all that idiocy was wit and intelligence.
Method to the madness. Yeah.
And that was what he saw as so interesting about New York, and that he loved so much about New York, is that it had everything and nothing, and it was wise and stupid and chaotic and intentional, complex, completely unique. Just one of those cities that's just it actually really does embody the wise men of Gotham, and it's a city of juxtaposition in every way.
That's cool. I like that a lot.
Me too. And
really
so Irving genuinely loves New York, and he wanted to make a literary reference that everybody would understand. And not totally take the wrong way. And so people understood it. They're like, oh, we're the wise city of Gotham. Meaning, like, look at us with all of our stuff.
Straight up, if you know kind of thing, essentially.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
It was like an inside joke for all of people in New York. That's kind of cool.
Yes. And so people started naming things after it and started using the nickname for themselves and owning it and being like, yeah, we're Gotham. Hence, things were named after Gotham. And then over the years, it just became the nickname. People loved it. And it started to be more associated with just the fact that the idea of juxtaposition in general, where it's just this city of absolute opposites. And when the creator of Batman chose the name, it ended up being more perfect than he could imagine, because he ended up just stumbling on a name that so entirely encapsulates New York City in a way that you have to go back pretty far to understand. But it's there. And it's a loving tribute in a weird way. And so that's how Batman's Gotham City is named, and how it got the name and what it means and the weird story of how it got there.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
That was a great tab.
Thanks.
I'm assuming that was the ending of it, because
it's the end.
Summarizing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job. That was a great one. That was really fascinating. I really liked it. A good payoff.
Yeah.
You know what? If you also love weird stories that we're telling on this podcast right now, and inevitably all the cuts that will come from this episode because we've gone on some tangents, why don't you go ahead and sign up right now? If you're on YouTube, go look below. Go sign up for our Patreon. You'll get access to... Tell them what we're going to get access to, Hannah.
Over a year's worth of the cuts from all the episodes. Some of them are shorter. Some of them are up to like half an hour to 45 minutes of stuff of us just talking, or guests talking. But you'll get access to discussions and polls and giveaways. Like one time, I still haven't done this, but I'm going to send somebody a little piece of clay I made. Because they commented first. So it's just one of those things where you can talk to other people and kind of be part of the community and
more importantly, help us continue to make these,
And
these,
we would love to
episodes.
keep making this podcast. It's really fun. And this is the best way you can support independent creators right now.
Creators, we have, do we have new patrons this week?
Yes, I think
we got
somebody
a couple,
named
right?
Jennifer.
Jennifer, shout out.
Let
Jen.
me check.
$3 a month. That's all it costs. You can give us more if you'd like. If you're rich, if you are like the upper crust of New York in 1807 and you want to give more money to the arts, you can give it to us directly. Why give it to people who will kowtow to different organizations like the FCC? Yeah. You can just give us money directly. You don't have to worry about it.
Just take out the middleman. Just and then just see the things we post. We have two new patrons. So welcome to Amani and Jennifer. Welcome.
Amani, I believe, gave us a listener email like a couple episodes before our last episode. I don't remember.
Was Amani sounds very
the Dr.
familiar.
Pepper one? I think I want to say. I could be wrong, but I feel like that was Amani. Hopefully it's the same one. Anyway, otherwise, I'm out here spreading misinformation on my own podcast about people that listen to it. But yes, if you can, please go ahead and sign up for the Patreon. It'd be really helpful to all of us involved in keeping this alive. And with that said, let us move on to my tab for this week.
Your turn. What do you have? Hope it's more linear than mine.
Yeah, it is. So, goodness, episode 90, man. I can't believe we're here. This is nuts.
It's absurd.
I came across today's tab as I was looking up fun New York history. And dear listener, let me tell you, I read about like 3 sentences of the story and I was like, that's the one.
This is the one.
This is it.
I love when it comes that easily. Because sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'm like, none of this feels right. But
sometimes you just like read all kinds of stuff. There's so many like half tabs of stuff where I was like, is there something here? But I was like, okay, this has got almost every single thing I look for in a tab. It's got like weird rivalries, hating the English, the theater, class warfare, rioting, some ACAB action. It's got like everything. The only thing it's missing is like
speaking my language.
Yeah, right
now.
The only thing it's missing is an animal where it's not supposed to be, but maybe I'll just sneak one in for good measure at some point. I don't know. But
just make one of the characters in this story be an animal.
One of these is an ape that escapes the zoo where it's not supposed to be there. It's Kenneth. Today, and I have so I'll say this. I prepared like a sort of intro for this one.
Oh, okay.
So let me get through this. So today I'll be taking us back to an era in American history I've covered many times before because, dear Lord, it seems there's so much chaotic shit that happened during this period. And
let me guess. Is it the 1860s?
A little bit earlier.
Oh, okay.
So our story centers around a historic beef between the Englishman William Charles Macready and I don't know why we don't call them the American men, but why do we have Englishmen and not American men? But so I'm going to call them the American men. The American men.
Sounds bad, but go for it.
The American men, Edwin Forrest, the most celebrated stage actors of their day.
And this is a theater beef?
This is a theater beef.
Oh, this is going to be so fun. All right.
So their beef was one of legend and revolved around what our old friend Miles Grebb would refer to as talking Shakespeare good. Get ready. So at the heart of this rivalry was an insecurity of America's burgeoning identity as its own nation, trying to come out from the shadow of its older sibling of England. And not that anyone outside of film and theater would understand this reference, but it's sort of like how maybe, 50-60 years ago, we're comparing Marlon Brando to Laurence Olivier. It's one's more about like raw emotional talent, and the other is like the ultimate trained professional, like the two acting genders, polished, as it were. Yeah. And beneath those two styles of talent versus training was frankly still an undercurrent of class, because it's educated versus uneducated, rich versus poor, the haves versus have-nots. And on May 10th, 1849, tensions came to a head at, of all places, an opera house. And hundreds were injured, and 22 poor souls were killed.
This sounds like a Joe Reginella sculpture, but it's real.
Yeah.
Wait, this is because of a theater beef? Oh, this is so good. It's like the 90s rap battle that ends in a big old accidental killing or something.
So rioting, opera house? How? Why? Dear listener, stop folding your laundry, leave those dirty dishes, and pull up a chair as I go deep into the story of the Astor Place riot.
Okay. Yes. This has everything I want so far. So, okay.
And I'll say this up front. This is one of my favorite ones to write, which is, it's always like a soft pitch for a movie. So,
of course. Yeah. I think everything you say that comes out of your mouth is a soft pitch for some sort of movie or film or TV show.
Always soft, everything that
book or,
limp, if you will. It's a limp pitch.
It's a limp pitch. Hear my limp pitch, okay? No, it's you lead in with everything.
So let's begin with the American men. Edwin Forrest. Yeah, Edwin Forrest. Edwin Forrest was born on March 9th, 1806 in Philadelphia. His father was a Scottish immigrant who worked as a clerk at the First Bank of the United States, but sadly died of consumption when Edwin was 12 years old, which you probably know what that is.
I think consumption is tuberculosis.
TB.
The old name for it. Yeah.
Taco Bell. The old TB. Yeah.
He died of Taco Bell. Oh, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark.
Genes were weak. Yeah.
He had to eat a lot of frontier Taco Bell, and that didn't sit well with him.
He's out there with Lewis and Clark and Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Too much mercury in the Taco Bell back then. And he
bad.
died. It's bad. So Eddie, he's forced to step up and get a job working with a ship chandler, which I guess is like the guy who's like making orders and stuff and like calls or whatever for like ship stuff. Although I imagine in 1810 or 1815 that was a slightly different job, but I think like more on the administrative side of making ships.
Okay.
So he worked hard and he earned a living and he helped support his family, but he spent all of his spare time reading Bill Shakespeare, right?
Oh.
He's reading Macbeth, Richard III, Othello, whatever. He's just, he read Shakespeare good and he felt, you know what? I think I can talk Shakespeare good too.
Me too. I feel a kinship with him.
Yeah, right? Which apparently is not that uncommon at this time, like especially in America. Yeah. Which is insane to think of now, like a 12-year-old reading Shakespeare. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Like we're all looking at TikTok videos at 12 years old, but to read.
Yeah, TikTok videos that are doing lasting damage to all of us.
Hey, that's an American company now, and it's all owned by one person. Thanks,
That's
Alyssa.
not bad
Please
at all.
don't murder me.
We didn't have an entire century of discord resulting from some sort of huge monopoly all over the country. It's fine. Anyway, so
another Gilded Age.
Awful.
Continue. What were you going to say about kids reading Shakespeare as kids?
Oh, yeah, I think back then it was just way more like a part of the like zeitgeist, just like everybody. Those were stories everybody knew, and also people were smarter in a lot of ways. I think they just understood the language. They were closer to the language that Shakespeare was written in, Middle English, than they are now. So I think people understood it a lot better. Anyway,
it's probably more widely available, and there weren't that many options as well. Otherwise, so Shakespeare ended up being kind of like your standard bearer. So
there was a Twilight or whatever.
Yeah, we have improved as a society, I'll say. Or there wasn't. Mothman's Compendium of Southern California Cryptids available on blacksmithfilms.com, or Permafriends, The Curse of the Coal Eyes, or Permafriends and the Curse of the Crimson Code, Quest for the Crimson Code, or Imaginary Friends Forever, an Avocado Chronicles collection, or Cat People.
Cat People. That's it.
All great books. Imagine if these kids had all read those books when they were little. They would have all been Gothamites.
Podcasters.
But like not the funny kind, just the crazy kind.
They would have just been the real, like the dumb Gothamites.
The dumb Gothamites, They would have been all been goats or whatever. Anyway, so he learns to talk Shakespeare good from reading all the Shakespeare. And soon he joins his first theater company. And in 1820, at the age of 14, Forrest made his professional debut at the Walnut Street Theater in Philadelphia as Norval, the lead in James Holmes's Douglas. And Forrest was a natural, and he garnered very favorable reviews in the local paper.
Okay, great. That's as good as getting like 1,000 Instagram likes or like going viral.
I mean, honestly, being the lead in something at 14 and just like getting written up in the paper, like that's pretty good.
Yeah, that doesn't happen to people.
Yeah. And he gets good reviews, but the good reviews aren't enough for the manager of the Walnut, who employed mostly English-born actors at the time. So he kind of pulls him aside and he's like, hey kid, some people, they got it, and whatever it is, you ain't got it. Sorry. I need someone with like really good manners. They got to drink like a lot of tea. They want to have to like
good British, because that's the
British
accent you're doing. Somehow that's still a New York, Chicago accent as for this British person. Love it.
No, this is in Philadelphia. Remember, he's the American guy hiring the English people. So theoretically, he could have been an English immigrant at this time.
Delete all of that.
No, it's fine. And he's like, you ain't got it. This is what I need out of somebody with it. And Forrest, of course, he can read between the lines. And he's like, oh, but you're saying is you're not English, so I'm not going to hire you. And this plants the seed of his resentment against British actors. And he's like, they're taking all our jobs. The English are getting all the opportunities. No one has it harder than white men who want to act in the theater. And he's like, there's never been more injustice in the world than the English against me trying to be a thespian.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. Meanwhile, American Indians are getting genocided and black people are all slaves.
Fill in the blank with literally anything, and that's happening. And this guy's like
across the street from this guy.
Exactly. They don't like me because I'm not the certain kind of white they want.
You're right. I'm not the right white. I'm the wrong white.
I'm the wrong white. Wow. And I see why you like this story already. And anger toward the British.
The British, because he's like, oh, we need like I don't know, like white American DEI or something. He's like, we need more like Americans in theater and not so many British people, which funny enough is like still a thing in the film industry now.
I was going to say, people are still like, wait, we should have Americans play this role. And it's like,
yeah, instead of all the English that come in and play the Americans. But we'll get into what all that is.
Okay. I was going to say, all of them are from very upper crust families who paid a lot of money to get their kids training. Anyway.
The English you're saying specifically.
All the English actors.
English actors,
right now,
yeah.
There's very few of them that are lower class or whatever.
Right, who grew up a working class, I should say.
Yeah.
Or like didn't grow up.
Go on.
And normally I'd be making fun of him because, you know, I'm like, what are you talking about? He's just doing like white DEI, but he's making fun of the English, right? So I'm like, there's a part of me that has to be like, okay, I support. I despite my better judgment, I have to on some level support this.
Yeah, enemy of your enemy.
Exactly, enemy. So we're going to gang up on that. We're going to come together on this. But so this is what was so interesting to me is this is where people say the American style of acting begins in earnest.
Oh, interesting. And okay.
It's a reaction to the stronghold that the English had on theater and Shakespeare in particular. And it's kind of crazy to think about it, but like America is really like 5 minutes old here, right? It's like barely been a country. And you know, we won and we aren't paying taxes, but the English want to come in and tell us like how to talk Shakespeare good. Like, no way, eat shit.
It's like, I thought we told you to leave. This is, yeah.
And
I can see that. No, I can see how frustrating that would be. It's like, these guys were like, we were literally killing these guys like 50 years ago.
And to use Civ metaphors, right? They had their war victory, right? But their military victory, but they haven't had their culture victory yet. Like, this is when it starts to coalesce around something.
Yeah.
And
thank you for talking in a language I understand.
Right. And American artists and writers and actors and whatnot, they're trying to figure out like their identities and the identity of the American voice and like what it means to be a writer in America or like an actor in America versus what it means to be an English person doing this in America.
Right.
And English theater actors, they still, as Forrest is experiencing, they still have like a stronghold across the East Coast and all the big in New York and Philadelphia and stuff. And Forrest is like, you know what? I'm going to have to go into the forest. I'm going to have to go west and south and all these other places and find myself. He goes off on his journey to figure out what his identity is. And he's driven by this idea. Maybe it's not like explicit at this point of like, you know, I don't necessarily think it's like a direct, I need to be anti-English, but I think that's the sentiment of like what's happening in the country at this time that people are trying to work through.
The natural thing that happens when there's a huge influx of one kind of art, everyone just kind of naturally moves against it with their own creativity. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just the way of things where it's like it's super realistic and now we're all going to go really abstract and now we're going to go back to being super realistic. So it's just kind of that kind of thing where it's like, it's just natural to respond to.
Responding to all that. And I think it's interesting because, again, I'll get into this more, but this is where all these styles start to like kind of polarize even more and go back and forth as a reaction to each other. And so, you know, while Forrest is out cutting his teeth in the West, let's go east across the pond.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to talk about the Englishman. William Charles Macready was born on March 3rd, 1793 in London, England. And Macready, he's a Nepo baby. He's the son of actor-manager who's also named William Macready and actress Christina Ann Birch. And he grew up around the theater. But like a lot of people who grew up with their parents doing one thing, he didn't want anything to do with it. He was like, "Oh, that's just like what my parents do. I want to like not do that.
My parents are lame. I want to go eat rocks and be a rock farmer. Go eat more rocks for breakfast. I don't know, whatever they do over there."
He's Alex B. Keaton. He's like, "Oh, my parents are hippies. I'm going to be a Republican." And he's initially destined for a career in law or like the church, but he too had to help shoulder the financial burden of his family. And at the age of 16, they basically pull him out of school and he had to help his dad manage the theater, which is an absolute insane inversion if I've ever heard of one.
That's insane. Usually it's like, got to come back to the farm. And it's like, no, you need to help me manage these actors and maybe you should become one. So
no, also he's just like,
family
you can't,
proud.
Yeah, you can't follow these hoity-toity dreams of going to law school. You need to come be like, you know, pretend to be Shakespeare characters and talk Shakespeare good.
I don't know that there is this interesting with being like a priest and a lawyer and an actor. Those all kind of go well together. I would say.
I mean, certain like, there's a lot of
type.
famous people in the film. I mean, Scorsese is the most famous example of like, he was almost going to become a priest and then he became a film director instead.
What?
Did you not know? That's like
No.
that's like a very famous like sort of origin story of Scorsese. That's why all of his films are so religious. Or like
what a divergent path that took. Wow.
I mean, it's like he worships at the altar of cinema. It's like, it's very religious the way he sort of approaches it. And all of his characters are always like struggling with some weird, like, Catholic guilt of some sort of like trying to navigate through the world. It's like he brings that to gangster films, blah, blah, blah. But yes, it's not uncommon for somebody else had this too. I'm trying to remember who it was. It's escaping me right now, but somebody else was like going to go into a life of the cloth and then ended up going into film instead. It's escaping me. But yes, it's not uncommon that somebody, again, it's like, also, it's like to become a priest or to go into the church. It's like, it's a lot of storytelling really at the end of it. It's like you basically have a big book where like there's all the most important stories and you're telling those stories and you're helping people through their lives. You memorize those stories. It's not that crazy that like one of those two would be the path that you go into. So,
not at all. It makes sense.
McCready basically is like, okay, you can't go. Sorry, McCready Sr. is like, you can't really go to law school. You're gonna have to come back and help the family business. And he's got to go, he comes back. He's acting in shows. He's helping his dad manage the theater and run it. And he's even playing like some prominent roles like Romeo and Juliet.
I love the idea of him doing this and just not even wanting to do it. You know what I mean? That would piss as Mr. Forrest. If I was Forrest and I found that out, I'd be so pissed off that he kept getting my jobs.
Right.
And he didn't even want to.
He doesn't even want this. He's just doing it because his dad forced him to. It's a bunch of bullshit.
And just walks in and gets the job and complains about it. I would be livid.
Yeah. I didn't get the sense that he hated it necessarily as much as he was like, it wasn't what he wanted to do. And there may be very well, he might have just come back to it at some point anyway. Who knows? He could have just gone to law school for 2 years and be like, I hate this. I want to go into the theater. But at that time, it's like he had plans and he was doing well and he was excelling. And then they were like, nope, sorry, you got to come back and help run the theater. Whatever. That's so funny. In 1816, he appeared at Covent Garden, London, and played a series of melodramatic villains. And he performed with such earnestness and truth that he became firmly established. And by 1820, he was recognized as one of the finest contemporary English actors. And what's interesting here is many people noted that he had like a more natural style of acting.
Okay.
And part of me thinks that to him, it was like you said, it's a job that his dad forced him to do. So maybe he's not overdoing it.
Right. Because at the time, it was very like you would recite things. It wasn't like this natural thing we get after getting, having film where suddenly acting becomes about the subtleties. And
right.
This was all about like you needed to sell a story to somebody who was like 50 feet away from you.
Yeah.
And it was all, anyway.
And it's interesting because also there's a part of it that's like, I think sometimes, this is just my own, in like kind of projection here, but like sometimes if you want something really badly, it makes you come off as like desperate. Yeah. And like it's not as like natural, but there's something about him where it's like he's kind of there like, oh, like this is a job. Like I have to make money doing this job. I have to support my family. So it's not so much that he didn't commit to it. Obviously he did. I think he just was like, he wasn't marred desperate by expectation for it, So he was just like, well, I'm just going to do it in this way. And
interesting.
Anyway, so all the English people were like, wow, look at his like posture. He's incredible. He's like much better than that dickhead Edmund Kean. And Edmund Kean was like one of the best actors of his day. But suddenly by comparison, he was seen as like this guy who's like too emotional, which again, this is funny because this is in England. So whatever the standard of being too emotional in England would be to us would just be like, what? Like he raised his eyebrow, whereas like this guy didn't.
Like, oh, that's a bit much, isn't it?
He flared his nostrils. I found that to be uncouth.
I don't know. I do think that like I've noticed that with the English culture, they're very buttoned up on the outside, but when it does come to like the creative arts, that's where they kind of like look at all the music that came out of there. It's just pure, just emotion, But they're not like that on a day-to-day basis. I think they pour a lot of that into they express it differently. Whereas we're over here being like, and this is how I feel, and I need to, I don't know. Please.
No, it's true. And then it's so basically what ends up happening is that I'll get into all of that in a second, actually, because you touch on a specific thing where it's like the English work outside in versus the Americans work inside out. So this is the birth of all this kind of shit. Actually, is what's so fascinating about it. Is like this is where it really starts to become an identity.
We start to diverge.
Yeah. So McCready achieved his greatest fame playing such Shakespearean roles as Hamlet, King Lear, Othello, all that stuff. And then classics. And then in 1820, a first-time playwright named Sheridan Knowles, he wrote something that was called Virginius.
Sorry, Virginius?
Apparently, it's about being a
As
virgin.
in, like,
It's the first
I lost my
incel play.
Virginius?
Virginius
I lost my
Virginius.
Virginius last night.
I have no idea. I didn't have time to
Sheridan.
read a play from 200 years ago, unfortunately.
Sheridan took my Virginius.
Sheridan.
Me and Sheridan
Yes.
are going steady. And I have
Sheridan
typhoid
wanted to
fever.
take my Virginius, but I was like, gotta put it in the poop chute. Gotta keep it until we're married.
Gotta stay Puritan.
Stay Puritan. Anyway, he wrote this play called Virginius, whatever it's about. Apparently it was real good. And Macready, he reads it and he's like, this is going to be my role. He sees it for what it is. He's like, okay, this plays to my strengths of this, that, and the other thing. Like, this is what's going to make me, even though he was already like hot, right? But he's like, this is my chance to like really come out. And then he basically pulls all these strings and then he stages the show. And sure enough, it's a huge hit. It makes him like the most popular actor in England. Like, it raises him to the top of the profession, and his career takes off from there.
Maybe this isn't so bad, the old family business.
Yeah. Being a virgin, I got to pull from my experience. No, he doesn't. He's English. He doesn't pull from personal experiences. He looks at the text, and then that's where he draws it from. So
this reminds me of being in theater. It's insane. Just the whole like, okay,
I mean, it's literally about theater. So yes.
No, I know, but like, I remember all the tactics of like, okay, it's all that's happening now. Like, some actors are like, method, and they're like, I got to think about my traumas. And some are just like, no, I'm just reading lines as a character.
So again, I was going to jump ahead, but actually, if we're going to jump ahead, I'm saying it's, no, it's great. It's like, you're making the connections. I was like, I don't know if I should keep going and then get to that part, but like, so effectively, let me keep going. And then, cause I do want to talk more about that in depth. Because there's stuff that we probably already know just based on experience, but like, I want to get into it a little bit more for the listeners
to tell the listeners,
and sort of what the distinctions are. But just to sort of get through this real quick, he does the show Virginius. He's big, he's popular. He comes from like a family that is teaches him how to manage sets as well and manage a theater, right?
Oh. So an AD.
Not just.
I know.
More like he like runs the companies or whatever.
I see.
Even though he's English, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give him some credit for a few things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brave.
I'm sorry. Unfortunately. But it's actually like crazy that this is the guy that does these few things. So I'm going to go through them. So he's actually a pioneer. And it sounds insane to think that this was even not a thing at some point, but essentially Macready invents the idea of rehearsals.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what did they do before? Wing it?
So at that time, or like I should say up until that time, what was very common practice is like, if you're a leading actor, you would just memorize your own lines in private, and then you'd go do your like soliloquy or whatever. Oh. And then that was like your moment to shine and be up on stage and perform whatever you wanted. And then you'd go back, and it was like this business of monologues. But Macready, he was the first person to popularize this idea where he's like, listen, that shit is whack. Like, there's no consistency. There's no cohesion. Right. One dude is like speed running his monologue, and this other guy is going slow as shit. And it's like watching 5 different plays. We need to tell one story. And to do that, we all got to work out shit beforehand. We can't just be like off in our little silos. We got to communicate so that we can kind of control the pace of it. So it's one story being told as opposed to everyone doing their own thing separately. Like, this is the first guy that's, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. Like, that's one of those things that just is natural. You just know it naturally. Like, we're a group. We got to work as a group. What?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That wasn't how they did it. And it was also like weirdly competitive where people would be like, well, I'm going to go do my monologue this way and that will make, and he was like, no, it's got to be a little bit more egalitarian. We got to spread it across because the audience is like, what the shit is happening? Like,
right.
This can be better. Yeah. He's also, again, this is crazy, the first person to institute the use of accurate costumes in historical dramas and made special efforts to obtain sets and scenery. Right?
What did they do before?
Macready was like, listen, Clooney, you can't be wearing like Air Jordans and vaping while you're playing King Lear. Like, they didn't have that shit back then. It's got to be like robes and like a pipe or whatever. We're trying to engage in a suspension of disbelief. Like, knock it off. And another thing,
crazy.
No more green screens. We got to make it look like he's in a castle. We got to have like a set behind them.
Okay, stop using Google. Come on.
No,
cohesion.
Before that, people weren't doing that before, apparently, not to the extent. It wasn't like a popular practice that was standardized across all these productions. Huh. And lastly, Macready, isn't that crazy? And it's like this one, it was the person who popularized these ideas.
It's like, wait a second, you guys. I can't believe nobody thought of that about this, but what if?
Yeah. Wow. If he's in Denmark and he's a prince, we should have him dressed like a Danish prince.
A Danish prince.
Isn't that wild?
Yes. I'm trying to think of a good example of like what that would look like modern day. Like if we had done, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, and they were all just wearing like 80s neon.
That's what I'm
like
saying. Yeah, he's like wearing Air
aerobics
Jordans and
video.
vaping. Yeah, exactly.
Gimli wearing like warmers, stuff like that, or it's like that's insane.
Which is different from, say, for example, to use a contemporary
yes
Shakespearean example of like modernizing it. I don't think they were necessarily like
Shakespeare on the beach,
yeah,
like
it's
that
not
kind of
Baz
thing.
Luhrmann being like, oh, like I'm trying to reach a
Right.
newer audience, like meet them where they are by taking this text and then giving it to them in the visual language that they would understand. This is more like it wasn't really that big of a deal because people were more like, well, I'm gonna go up here and do this monologue and whatever, and my costume's fine and it's not a big deal. But he was the first person who's like, well, actually, it should be this.
Well,
but the idea is that this would help kind of engage in the suspension of disbelief and make people feel like they're being transported in the theater when they're doing these Shakespearean plays, like more to like what the setting was.
No wonder why every theater just had a boom at this point. Like, everyone was obsessed with it.
Exactly. And lastly, Macready insisted on using the like OG uncorrupted versions of Shakespeare's plays because everyone had gotten lazy and they were like filling in the gaps with like Icelandic Dracula or whatever. Like they were just like, fine, it's good enough. But Macready was like, nope, out of here. And he's like, you got to get the OG real versions with the real text, with the real dialogue, with all this. And kind of to your point, all of a sudden, this is when English theater starts to get like kind of what we think about it more as today, I think, or like more of what we think of like, oh, the Royal Shakespeare Company and all that shit of like, oh, the English tradition. Like it doesn't really start in the modern sense of what it is until this period. And Macready is like a big person that's like pushing all these ideas forward.
Oh, that is because I know that before that time, when Shakespeare was actually alive, it really wasn't like high class. Like it could be, but it was like, I don't know, you're this person, put a dress on and say some lines. Like it was very crass almost.
Yes.
And like the Queen would come sometimes, but I don't know. It was just, they were seen as a bunch of degenerates, actors.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing, I think, especially because what we were talking about with Forrest, it's like a lot of people in America who we would quote unquote think of as degenerates is like not high class, like fancy society. Like people were like gold miners and shit. We're like, oh, like we're gonna put on like little Shakespeare plays. Like it's crazy to me to like think of like the contemporary version of this would be like coal miners like in West Virginia or something being like, oh, let's stage Shakespearean plays like in our spare time. Which would be really cool if that was the case. I mean, no shit against them, but it's kind of funny to think like you would never think of that now, or like a truck driver being like, oh, I'm going to listen to Shakespeare as I'm driving across the country. Like that's the level of kind of universal access it used to have. It didn't used to be this thing that's like, oh, well, it's only taught in like college courses and like, gate kept or whatever. It used to be way more accessible. Yeah. But I mean, you could argue that like, Macready's sort of the first person that's like, no, you need, because what comes with all this is like, attention to detail, money, time, access to resources, that kind of shit. So you could also argue that like, it's a give and take. On some level, it becomes a lot more prestigious and like way more specific, but it also kind of takes it away from being more accessible to working class regular folk. But
and that's interesting.
And that kind of becomes this. So this is the beginning of like the split, right?
Okay.
Of like what's happening in America.
British split. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Which I thought was like so fascinating. And Edmund Kean, remember, he's the guy who was like too emotional for England because he like raised his eyebrows once. He's still popular, right? He's still continuing to do his work, and he goes to America in 1825.
Oh, okay. So
to go do like So it's very common for these people. People are going to do acting. It's like you're a performer,
like residencies, kind of,
right? Or he's like 1825 American tour, like the Beatles, right? He's just like, oh, I'm going to come here and play the Ed Sullivan Show or whatever's in 1825.
This is my King Lear tour.
Exactly. So he comes to America in 1825, and he goes on this run, and it starts in Albany, and there. Who does he meet?
Forrest.
It's our boy Edwin Forrest. So Forrest, he's now back from his sort of wilderness run. Remember, because he left the cities and he was like, I mean, he was still in the cities, but he's not doing like the big marquee tours. Yeah. So he's like in New Orleans and like a couple of other places. I don't think he's necessarily going through California the whole time or anything, but the idea is that like he kind of goes, he travels. He's doing all these crazy shows. He's kind of like, whatever, experimenting, learning about stuff, like trying to carve his identity away from the major centers like New York and Philadelphia. And now he comes back and his hard work has paid off. He's got something new. And Kean, having been too emotional for the English, it suddenly makes him this kind of perfect lead for Forrest to act under, to act with. So these two form a partnership, and he's like, it's his Iago to his Othello, Titus to his Brutus, Richmond to his Richard. And they're like these two peas on a pod. And they have this epic run where, you know, he's kind of learning from Keane about like kind of the more English tradition to a certain extent, but he's not like the stuffy upper crust. Again, for the English, he's the sort of he's a little bit more accessible.
Right. A little more he's lower sort of class in the way that they would see it.
Yeah. And he's also open because he's like, oh, I've just been like pushed out by this dickhead who wants to have like original text and won't let me like wear Air Jordans on stage. So he comes to America, and America's like a little bit cooler with it.
It's like, we love Air Jordans. You kidding?
Yeah, exactly. We're like, Air Jordans are the best. They're like a status symbol. It's like, if you're poor, like you're saving up, that's the closest we could be like Jordan. It's a whole thing. Anyway.
You know, the Michael Jordan, who was alive in 1850. Yeah.
Listen, at this point, I would believe him. He would have still been alive like 200 years out of spite.
Like, that makes sense. He's immortal. Yeah, that tracks.
So they have like this really good working relationship, and through this working relationship, Forrest, he kind of becomes more confident because he's got like a good yes and partner.
Yeah.
And as he continues to grow as like a performer, he's also starting to blow up. And Keane's hyping him up, and he's like, bro, you got to move to England. Like, the food is really good there. But Forrest is like, absolutely not. Like, I'm a Philly cheesesteak boy. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not coming to there. But they're helping each other out. And
I love this. It's like a mentor BFF type thing.
Yeah. And suddenly Forrest is doing these weird things that, like, again, when you read about them, they sound like, it's what? Like, but it would have been a big deal in like 1825, where he's like, oh, I was Iago, but instead of being like conniving, he plays him as like more effeminate and like bold and like outspoken. And then he kind of like whispers stuff to him. And it's like, people are like, what the shit?
With it.
Yeah. Just being like, it doesn't have to be one thing. It could be like this totally different, which for some reason to me, that made me think of like Jack Sparrow as Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow, being like, oh, like this, here's this like weird take on this character, which is like weirdly hypnotic. I'm like, I don't know. I think that's kind of the best parallel I could think of.
Is still very much in our psyche as a people. It's like, oh yeah, Jack Sparrow, that's a character.
Because also what you would think of pirates was like, yar, it's like the aggressive, like the stereo. So like somebody comes in and they're like, oh, well, it's funny to think of like, oh, well, why wouldn't there have been like a character or a pirate who was maybe like these other people have existed forever. Yeah. Yep. And so it's like, oh, I don't know, he's kind of a metrosexual or whatever, you know, whatever it is. Like,
nothing says 2003 quite like the word metrosexual.
Which is when the movie came out. That's what I mean. That's sort of what it was seen as. So it's these characterizations that are kind of interesting that you would never have necessarily done in the traditional sense of how you would have done a Shakespeare play. But Forrest does this. And all of a sudden people are like, oh, that's kind of crazy. Like, that's kind of weird. Like, interesting. And so he starts to blow up and he starts to get bigger and bigger. And eventually in 1826, Forrest took on the title role of Othello at Philadelphia's Chestnut Street Theater. And suddenly at age 20, he's this bona fide celebrity.
20?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like a child star. He has like child stardom. Oh.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, no.
By 1827, he was making $200 a night.
Whoa.
And within a few more years, he reached $500 a night, making him the highest earning actor in the world.
That's so much money for the time.
Crazy amount of money.
I'm pretty sure people made like $10 a year.
Yeah, exactly. But like, this is the kind of draw. Hold on. There's this picture of him that's really funny. I forget what play this is from. But he literally just looks like Ron Swanson.
Oh, I'm so excited. Let's see it. He looks exactly like Ron Swanson.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. I would say who's he playing in this? Looks like a Roman soldier. He looks just like Ron Swanson, except with a taller head somehow.
Yep. With like a big head of hair.
Big, tall head. And just posing like a Roman centurion or a soldier or something. And that's fully, you just have to go look at it, you guys. It looks just like Ron Swanson. So.
Yep. He's literally Ron Swanson as this actor. And now he's making $500 a night. And he's the highest paid actor in the world. And what does he do? Instead of buying like a giant house with 17 cars and like Scarface blinds, he does something totally different. What he does is he starts offering an annual cash prize to authors who would write new plays on American subjects with American characters. Like, he didn't just complain about the English thing. He's literally funding it.
Yeah, dude, this is amazing. This is the kind of guy. This is awesome. So he's Is this a good thing? Because I'm thinking this is a good thing, right?
I
It's like
mean,
building American, the American. No, okay. I thought this was
it's
USA,
like,
USA.
it is. I mean, look, it is and it isn't. It's not
Uh,
because racism and, the perception. Don't forget, at the same time that all this is happening, like the Indians are getting genocided and like going on the Trail of
yep.
Tears and all that shit. And then at one point he writes this play about them. Or I think he
Oh.
thinks he's being sympathetic, but it's more about
Oh.
like focusing the narrative on like the white experience about it.
Oh,
But
gross.
which,
Okay.
I'm always like, people are complicated. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily think it was good or bad. I just think it was like I think in one sense, it depends on what you think of as the American
Right.
identity
Well, now
of
that I'm
like American
right.
stories.
And that was the time when everyone was inventing the American identity and erasing all of the bad things.
Yes. I mean, they still
And
continue to
it's,
do it. I mean, they're
well,
doing it
yeah,
more
yeah,
now than ever to
ever,
erase it, but
ever. Yeah. But this is
arguably.
the long tradition of us doing this. So, okay, I got all USA, USA, but then as I thought about it, I was like, oh no, then he's just
It's complicated is sort of the
cut all
short
that
version of
out.
it. No. I think it's an important
Okay.
question to ask because people like,
Yeah.
we always want to like latch on to something like, is this person all good or all bad? Or is the things that this person did all
Yeah.
good or all bad? And it's kind of debatable, but I
Yeah.
think like it depends on your version of like, okay, well, I like the American, sense of humor. I like the American take on literature. I like the American take on, and it's distinctly different from the English, which let me just finish this one next little part.
Yes.
And then this is the part where we can really get into it and discuss
Okay.
it. But he continues to do a good job and it adds more emotion and chaos to his roles, like something like Hamlet. But I want to say this. So a Pennsylvania critic described his portrayal of Hamlet in 1828, saying, quote, Mr. F made a beautiful point in falling on his knees after the ghost had vanished in an attitude of reverence. And so suddenly, gone were the shackles of English propriety, and the American identity begins to show itself through the most English of works. Characters are like, they're dipping everything in ranch dressing. They're leaning on things. They're going on long diatribes about the importance of like the Second Amendment. And he pioneers like this extroverted, bold approach to performing, which made him this crossover hit. And he wasn't just loved by the rich snobs, but also like regular people in bars in the streets.
Yes.
They all loved him and they became like the embodiment of being American, which at this point in time is specifically everything that's not British. And the thing that like, I thought, this is just my own extrapolation of it, that I thought was really interesting is if you think about, because the American identity as like as a piece of, as it functions in like literature and plays and movies and all that stuff, it's forged in the ideas like, what is an American identity? Like, do you have like a specific take on that? I'm not just asking you. It's not a trick question. I'm just asking you if you have one.
No, I know. I'm thinking the American identity. It's tough because there's the one we were taught growing up. That's like,
right.
The American identity is, you come here for an opportunity and it's for everybody. And
right.
It was founded on honest principles. And we made this land we carved this land out as for America. And, in some sections, people thought it was promised to us. That we were fulfilling a prophecy or something. But when you look past that, then what is America to me is that that's not true.
Right.
That's America is selling this idea of America while hiding America. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Where it's that's so unique. It's just so very, very, very new country. I'm a new country. American propaganda. It's a great idea, but it's never existed.
No, exactly. Well, I mean, we're also dealing with, this is where the myth of America and the identity of America is being formed, and it's permeating into all these little different mediums, right?
Yeah.
Like through acting. And so like this is the acting style. So this becomes kind of it's not the basis by any means, but like the way that I think of this is like, okay, this is like the Strasberg or like the Stanislavski method, like what you were talking about, like the method, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you think about what America is, or what I think of America, particularly at this time, aside from obviously owning slaves and genocide and all the terrible things, but at least the identity of what Americans are sort of, I should say, what white people are telling themselves, right?
Yes.
It's manifest destiny. It's expansion westward. It's Lewis and Clark. It's this huge continent that it's quote unquote been unexplored, which was also bullshit and a lie. But this is what they're telling themselves, right?
Yes.
Is that if you think of England as this country that at this point has existed for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and it's this tiny island, right? If you're English, you are part of that tradition. You're part of this, this Navy, right? The Navy is the big thing for the English at this time. Like that's how the English take over the world.
They control
and suddenly
the seas.
they control the seas, they're exploring, they're doing all this stuff. And now suddenly you have these English people who come to this quote unquote new country. Again, we're adults here. I don't need to get into all the different explanations of why that's incorrect. We all know this. But they come to the quote unquote new world, and it's like, okay, well, there's nothing to fall back on. There's not like this tradition of like, we can't use ships or whatever things that we've figured out like in the old country like aren't going to work here. Right. So America becomes about like, you're reactionary. You're reacting to the environment. I don't know if I'm going to go on this trail and suddenly some Indian's going to shoot like some, I don't know, some bow and arrow at me, or like there's a buffalo that's going to come out, or like there's all this, you know, this hasn't been civilized,
I've never
quote unquote.
seen before. It's going to come out of the forest. Like, yeah.
So I think like America, in essence, is about like, it's number one, it's about violence, right? Against nature and animals and the people who live here and the people that you own. And it's also about this idea that like you're always fighting nature and you're always having to react and you don't know what's coming. Like this is what I think that they're thinking at this time, right? Subconsciously. And so what ends up happening is that it manifests, I think, this is all a very intellectual explanation of it, but I think with Forrest, it's like this is what becomes the American identity. It's about like, well, we're not going to sit here and like note this to death. Like, we're not going to think about the English way of doing things, which, as I was saying before with McCready, it's like, it becomes more about like, okay, well, did you do your research? Are you thinking about the text? Like, what is the text? Go back to the original text. The original text has to have this, and this. Like, what was the intention? Like, I think of, what's his name? There's an interview with Brian Cox, the guy, the actor, you know him? He was like in Succession and all that stuff, which like, it's interesting when you hear, you were talking earlier about like how English actors are versus American actors, right?
Yeah.
And, like, Brian Cox always talks about like a lot of actors, particularly Americans, don't understand that. Like, there's a quote, it says, if you don't understand subject, verb, and object, a lot of people don't understand that like Americans see things as emotionally and they don't see it in terms of clarity. The emotion thing, of course, has got to be there, but that's a given. The thing with clarity is that it's actually making the audience listen to you. How do you make an audience listen to you? And you make the audience listen to you by being clear and inhabiting the line, by understanding where you are on the line. And this goes back to Shakespeare in the iambic pentameter. That's what Cox talks about, right?
I see.
Which I think as an American, that fundamentally sounds insane, right? Because you're like, no, it's about like, you feel your way through. Like we do this as artists too. It's like, like the technical things that you learn are like, okay, sure, that's how you can execute. But really it's about like individuality. It's about what your feeling is, what you're reacting to. It's not about this like construction in the way that you would think of like an English person would. You're thinking of it as like, well, I'm an American and that's good enough. That's the basis of it. That's who we are. We're individuals. It's about freedom to do whatever the hell is popping into your head. So I think, again, this is my psychological unpacking of it, but I think this is
how we are.
Right. And this is the basis for it in the theater. Like, this is where it starts.
Crazy.
Right?
Yes, you really did capture that. I think that idea of us fighting against nature is a very deeply American, or quote unquote American thing that has permeated into every aspect of our culture.
And so, again, it's ironic that like he's seen as this kind of like manly, masculine, like man of the people figure, but it's because like he's not doing the English, like, okay, well, I have to deliver the lines exactly like this. And that's the other thing. It's like the English tradition is like very much about, or it was very much about like the Shakespearean thing is like enunciating your words and like making sure it's clarity of line, which again, it's not, I should say, like, I don't think one is better than the other necessarily. I think it's just two different methods of doing it. You kind of need both. But the idea is that it's like the idea that this guy comes in and it's more about like, well, what does he feel? He's like, I don't know. I was feeling this in the moment when I did it. So that's why I did this whisper, because that's what I was reacting to. And it's not about like figuring out this exact plan before it. All of a sudden people are like, oh, this guy's like, he's real. He's like a real guy on stage. He feels like a person. I know he doesn't feel like this actor who feels separate from us. He feels like that's a dude that I would know. Unfortunately, the term, they always say like a guy I want to have a beer with, or like they recognize themselves on stage in a way that was different from an English person.
Which is also very when you look. Sorry, one really quick.
No, go ahead.
Talk. But with like the English society at the time, it's just, even now, it's just very divided by class, and it's getting better. But like that inaccessibility that you have as a lower class person to what is right above you or two steps above you, like that kind of comes through in every way. Even with that, like, no, even my emotions, the way I'm delivering this is not meant for you to relate to. It's meant for me to say it and master it in a way, whereas with the American way, it seems that it's a little more like we're all here more equal footing than we were in England. And I just picture being told your whole life you're never going to amount to, you're never going to be able to like jump classes. And then suddenly you go to this place where you can do literally anything you want.
Right.
That's insane. The freedom they must have felt to be like, I'm going to reinvent how we do things. I mean, again, on top of all the horrible things. That's fast. That is such a, I'm having a realization that is deeply at the very root of it, how we are different from England as the individuality and then the separation. Does that make sense? I don't even know if I'm...
No, you're telling me back. Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. Yeah, you're telling me back. I understand. Yes, it does make sense. So I think, you know what else this made real quick before I move on, but like the thing it made me think of, the thing it also made me think of that I've talked about before is the abstract expressionists after World War II.
Yeah.
Do you remember this whole thing? It's like Rothko and all those guys, because the idea was that like, okay, well, if our main foil are the Russians and the Russians are communists and communism's all about like, the state controls everything and you don't, and like, we're going to see this in America, you can be so free that you can literally start to like splatter shit onto a canvas because that's how much freedom of expression we have. And like, that's how crazy we can get. And like, America's the only place. So this is sort of like the precursor, like 100 years earlier, but like, there's so many examples I kept thinking of. I'm like, oh, this is really where that starts. Yeah. And like, this is really what becomes a huge part of not just American theater, but what ultimately becomes film. Because film is really about that. Yeah.
This is very much reflected. This is like, when you're saying all this is like, this is going to lead to film. And that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, fascinating. Okay.
So that's the part that I was like, oh, this is crazy. Because I had never found where the root of those things were. And it's apparently these two dudes. And
it's wild.
It's crazy. Or like this rivalry. So, and then in September 1836, Forrest, he set sail for England. To make his first appearance in London as Spartacus the Gladiator at Drury Lane Theatre and give the English their first taste of the new American style.
No, don't do this to me. Don't do this.
And
no.
We'll pick back up next week.
Why did you? I could feel it. I could feel it coming, and I'm like, oh no! But I want to hear about the riot. Okay, all right. Is this a 3-parter?
I don't know. I mean, we'll see where it goes. I didn't think about that far ahead, but I was like, this is what I said at the beginning. I was like, as I was reading about this, I was like, oh, there's so much here.
Yeah.
That's like fascinating to me that like
whole conversations we want to have about it, which is great.
Yeah. So I'm like, the riot is almost like the least interesting, not least interesting, but I'm like, I was like, oh, I didn't know this or like how this, but it's just really crazy to think about it, that like, oh yeah, I guess all this starts this quickly after the American Revolution. And it's interesting to see like how it coalesces and it's just this reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm just kind of repeating myself at this point, but like, I just thought that was fascinating to think about all that stuff happening at the same time and how that's informing popular culture and how it ends up, it gets crazy. It's going to escalate even more. Anyway, so that's
excited.
my top.
And I think that we often, as Americans, there's something about like 1776 feeling so much further away from the 1800s than it is.
Right.
Because it's like, that's all over here. And then we're in here. And so it's like, no, we were a very young country. We were very young. Yeah. Whoa.
And they're English people. It's not like they came here and then all of a sudden they were like non-English. It was like, oh, wait, what are we if we're not in England? Right. And so like it becomes this scramble to figure out like, well, what is it
Who
that
are
our
we?
identity is, aside from killing English people and kicking them out and not paying them taxes and not having
and also killing
democracy.
Everyone else.
But like that's your sort of governmental structure of what your identity is. But like culturally, it hadn't really coalesced into something. I mean, there's an argument to be made that a lot of people, I can't remember who said this first, but like they always say that like Mark Twain is sort of the first real like American voice, which Mark Twain's born around this time. But
I
always think
reading about Washington Irving, that he was one of the very first like literary minds that could be considered American in the sense that it is. So that was happening at the same time as this too. All the like Gotham stuff. It's just strange. It's like all these identity things that are happening and we are still holding on to that. And see, now I just want to talk about this for like,
go ahead.
Way longer. We do this so. It's here's what's weird about being such a young country in such an age of technological advance, in that we know exactly what happened and we have all this stuff and we have access to exactly what happened, and we're still telling ourselves these stories. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, I can't think of another country that is like this. That we have this crazy 200-year capsule where things just happened. The craziest things happened and the world changed drastically. And we've only been here for 200 years. That's insane. I don't even know what the point of that was, but that's insane. Suddenly this tab you just told me shrunk my timeline like down to nothing. It's nuts.
By the way, this is just to give you a preview what happens in the next tab. It's like this is before the potato famine, right? And like when the Irish are starting to flood into New York and like the Germans coming in after that failed revolution. This is right before all of this.
So it's just being
This is not. I'm not gonna go more than that into this. But that's why I was like, I really don't want to rush this because I was like, there's so many crazy things that happen. I'm like, this gives me an opportunity to like really like calcify a lot of these kinds of stories and things and events that are happening in real time. So I was very excited about this one. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a good one.
I'm glad you're not rushing it because even though I was mad that you blue balls me again, I'm excited to hear more.
Me too.
It'd be funny if it turned into part 4. Yeah, part 4 of November Rain. No, it'd be funny if it turned into part 4 of November Rain somehow.
Yeah, no, he's like, oh, this all ties back together to Axl Rose and Macbeth.
King Lear, Macbeth, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
That's my tab. I think it's time now to close our tabs. Although I'm going to close
of them. Yeah,
some of them, not all of them. What would you like to do for our sound effect? Should be like a donkey kicking somebody.
Donkey? Oh, a goat?
I'm sorry, goat, not donkey. A goat. Should be goat related.
Yeah, we should just. I was watching my friend's goat the other day tried to eat my hair off of my head. Goats are chaos.
Goat eating hair if there's a sound for something like that.
Let's just have a goat like headbutting something and going.
Cool, let's do it.
Cool.
You want to count us down?
Yeah, let me okay, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Close those tabs. All right.
Okay, moving on to listener emails. You're up first.
All right. This one is coming in from Wendy from British Columbia, Canada. So, hi. Neighbor.
Hello, Wendy.
Wendy. So I had to edit this for clarity and length. So sorry, Wendy. Wendy says, "Hi, Hannah, Kaveh, and Alyssa. Wendy here from beautiful British Columbia, Canada. I am very proud to be one of your many tens of listeners.
Yeah.
And recommend the podcast to others anytime I get a chance. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you for the pigeon episode. I knew some, not all of the facts, thanks to my adult daughter who loves everything animal, vegetable, and mineral.
Nice.
And knows, it sounds like a lot like most people who listen to this. And knows more facts than I could ever imagine. Also, if you want more pigeon info, check out the author, illustrator, lecturer, etc., Rosemary Moscow. I actually started following Rosemary.
I don't know her.
And she's great. She's obsessed with pigeons.
Nice.
I do understand why so many people have a hate for pigeons. But have they ever considered how much worse the European starling is?
I don't even know what the European starling is.
Apparently, it's just really destructive, really crazy. I had to edit out a bunch of reasons why it was really destructive. But all you got to know is that it's kind of ruining everything. It eats
if it's
bugs
European, I just assume that.
Yeah. They're coming over here, colonizing. Literally, though. So
trying to tell us how to talk Shakespeare good. Thanks a lot.
It's funny that you say Shakespeare because the next part says, while native to Europe, Asia, and North Africa, starlings have been introduced to many other parts of the world, including North America, Australia, and New Zealand. So how did they get here? Blame Shakespeare.
Oh!
And European influencers. Shakes fist, she put. Starlings were first introduced to North America in the 1890s. In 1890, a New York pharmaceutical manufacturer named Eugene Schifflin embarked on a mission to introduce all the birds mentioned in the works of William Shakespeare to North America.
That sounds like an Instagram account.
It does.
Birds of Shakespeare.
He would have thrived in this day and age.
100%. That guy would have been rich. All the bird watchers, all the boomers.
Birds of the U.S. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a calendar that he can make or like a,
think of the money.
So much merch. Should we just do that? We should just make that. I'm like giving away free ideas here.
Thanks.
$1 million.
Schifflin. Schifflin was the chairman of the American Acclimatization Society, a group you ready for this? A group dedicated to introducing European flora and fauna to North America.
Oh, great. Thanks. So you're the reason why we have droughts.
Yeah. And grass. Yes, thank you. He released 100 starlings in New York Central Park in 1890 and another 40 in 1891. These birds are believed to be the founders of the North American starling population. Schifflin's move
The Adam
for
and Eve.
Yeah, I'm the bird Adam and the bird Eve. Both cloacas. There's no... Anyway, thinking about bird cloacas. Schifflin's motive for releasing starlings in New York was purely sentimental and literary. As an admirer of Shakespeare, he wanted to bring to life all the birds that were mentioned in the bard's works. The starling had a brief but memorable cameo in Shakespeare's Henry IV, Part 1. Other members of the American Acclimatization Society also aimed to introduce familiar Old World species to the New World, such as house sparrows and common nightingales. Little did they realize that these introductions could have major ecological consequences. So, while staring at beautiful birds with their glossy, shiny feathers, their introduction to North America as an invasive species has created a cascade of negative impacts on agriculture, native wildlife, and human environments. And this is the page that details the spread of the birds as well as their pros. Yes, there are some pros and cons. Thank you for being a bright spot in this never-ending shitstorm. Keep it, Josie. Thank you,
I like
Wendy.
that because it also completes the thing I forgot to do in my tab, which is an animal where it's not supposed to be, and it turns out
exactly.
it came in the tab.
It was in and it was Shakespeare and New York, so it worked.
All things are tying together. Love it. Thank you. Okay, so moving on. The next email is Paul from Vienna.
Oh,
dear Hannah and Kaveh, hi. Thanks for the rice deep dive on episode 87. This is why I chose this, because somebody was grateful for the rice deep dive. I grew up near Toronto, where my family ate Kakuo Rose exclusively.
Ooh.
And now we live in Vienna, where Nishiki is the nearest available variety. But I never knew the origins. Thank you also for always emphasizing the gross injustice and continued relevance of how Japanese Americans and Canadians, parentheses, including my grandparents, were treated during World War II. Never again for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
At the time of this recording, you even heard the previous
Next
episode.
week's episode.
Last week's episode.
Yeah, by the time you hear this, go back to last week's episode.
You'll have heard the cool baseball teams. Anyway, I didn't know much about the Japanese in I always forget to do Canadian research, of course.
Yeah, I can't forget
because I'm a dickhead
Canada.
American, but
we're the
that's one I'm gonna have
worst.
to go look into. We are the worst.
We're the worst. We know nothing about our neighbors. It's bad.
My tab relates to the November Rain 3-parter that helped me understand a lyric from one of my favorite rappers, Action Bronson. His song Easy Rider opens with, quote, "Feeling like Slash in front of the chapel, I'm leaned back with the Les Paul."
Yep.
To complete the reference, the music video features a guitar solo and shots of a white chapel, specifically the Sanctuary Adventist Church in LA County, California, also seen in Kill Bill.
Oh, that's that church.
It's kind of fun. Yeah. Action is a hilarious storyteller, very much in the 500 Open Tabs tradition. Other fans have cataloged his hundreds of mentions of gourmet cuisine and niche sports personalities, which make for great tabbit holes. They've included the links. Keep it, Josie, Paul. I have not listened to any of Action Jackson, so I didn't know that. But that's really funny to know.
Me neither.
He shouts out. I'm sorry, Action Bronson, not Action Johnson. Jackson. I'm getting to the end of the episode where I've talked for too long. Apologies. Yeah. I'm going to wrap this up then. Thank you, Paul, for that tab. I really enjoyed it. It's nice to know that other people also appreciate the genius of the November Rain trilogy and knowing about varieties of Japanese rice and are interested and continue to know about it. Thank you. That makes it not in vain for me because I thought I was insane doing all of that. But
no, those were great episodes.
Yeah. Man, I've had a weird run this year, haven't I? I'm like a 3-parter on November Rain, like music video trilogy, and then like an extensive deep dive into the different varieties of how rice was grown in California.
Not even just
Dear
rice,
Lord.
but Thai food, sushi, rice, internment camp baseball, like just like
Vietnamese nail salons. I've had a very varied year this year, huh?
Yeah, you have.
Oh, wow. Anyway, if you too have a tab that you'd like to share with us, please send it to 500opentabs@gmail.com. That's 500. And what else? What are we talking about? We're at New York this week.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Before we get into that, yes.
I was going to say you can follow us too at 500 Open Tabs. And me at Hannah Hillam and you at PermaFriends. And right?
Yes.
And then
Yes. And if you're at New York this week, please come see us. We're at table D33 in Artist Alley. I have a couple of exclusives. I'm going to show them on the screen right now, and I will have finished them by the time this episode releases instead of the placeholder. But if you come, I got this, which is a print, which is a fake cover of old-timey Marvel What If comics. And of course, this is of Iron Man, and it says, "What if Iron Man had to pay his taxes?" And
never gets old.
I had a lot of fun drawing that one. Because what if? Yeah, he wouldn't make it. Basically, is sort of the gag there. Yeah. I also have these stickers that are my mashup of Calvin and Hobbes with K-pop Demon Hunters, which I had a fun time
how
doing.
That's possible. It is.
Yes.
Go look at the video.
It.
It's
a fun
great.
one.
I'll tell you
those
this.
Those are the two main ones I wanted to show.
I'll be your first customer. Yeah.
Yeah. Please, thank you. I'll also have my mugs that I don't show on the show, but everybody who's come to our tables in person know which ones I'm talking about. I'll also have my batch of pins. I'll have books, prints, all kinds of stuff. But those were the two main ones I wanted to highlight. I'll also have other stuff that I'm not going to show on the podcast. But
really,
I've had a lot of fun getting ready for this show.
Do I not even know about it?
No, you know about some of them. I just
Okay.
Anyway, gotta leave them on a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So then I'm going to have a bunch of new original-ish stuff, and I've got some new stickers, mostly. I'm, overhauling my stickers. And
nice.
I'm also going to be doing a new thing. Hopefully it gets there in time, but my brain comic, I'm going to exploit that a little more by making magnets that you can mix and match what the brain is saying with...
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Or a 4-panel magnet of some sort. Oh, that's cool as shit.
Just the brain and then different.
It's not cool as shit. I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's not as cool as you think it is.
Sorry.
Put those expectations back down here, please.
Dropping them down to the ground.
Thank you. It's not cool. No, it's just the brain, and then you can mix and match things that it's saying.
Oh, that's even more fun.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
Also,
so I'll hopefully have that.
Did you show any of your magnets from before? They're beautifully painted.
Oh,
let's put them up on the screen right now since you're being weird and modest about it, and then you didn't prepare them to show. But they are gorgeous. They're very colorful, which I really like.
I've really stepped into color lately because the world's absurd, and why not?
Yeah, it looks great. We need a little bit of color intensity every time we go to the fridge or wherever you put your magnets. But they're great. I've seen you work on them. She has, in fact, made them. Yeah. They're not. She's not commissioning. Yeah. Yes, I've seen them all made. The colors are great. They're fun. And you keep knocking them out.
I know. They just come out. I'm just doing it. And by the way, if you want to order one at the con, I will draw one for you of your cat, but it will be more money. And I'll also be doing pet portraits. Any pet you want. We're in a dog market right now, which means I can draw dogs because that's the economy. And
And lastly, you and I are doing collaboration pieces, which are really fun. That are totally absurd. Where I'll sketch something stupid out, and then Hannah starts to ink it, and then I'll sort of lay some color and then your color just goes back and forth, and to be like, here's some weird, insane, dumb piece that we're doing together. So if you're so inclined, you can come buy one of those.
It has been very surprisingly fulfilling to do that. Yeah, it's been fun.
I'm surprised too. I didn't think anything would be fulfilling with you, but nonetheless,
I know, right? 90 shows. You're still waiting for it to be fulfilling.
I'm waiting for it to become meaningful. Anyway, with that, let's go ahead and wrap it up. We've gone for too long.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you to Alyssa. Thank you for everybody who's going to come visit us. Remember, D33 in Artist Alley in New York Comic Con. Say hello.
Javits Center.
Javits Center, Cows Kissing, Kaveh. In the meantime, keep it Josie at the Dickie Nixie Soviet pool party, Hannah.
Keep it Josie at the Gwen Stefani latrine tribute. Wait, hang on. Keep it Josie at the Gwen Stefani tribute latrine.
In the sky.
Okay. In the sky. In the sky.
In the sky. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye. See you next year. Oh, no. What next episode? What are we talking about?